Hi everyone, this is the lecture to accompany Chapter 2 in your textbook. I won't be covering everything in Chapter 2, just what I believe are the most important concepts, but you're still responsible for knowing the information. Okay, let's discuss how to build your confidence as a speaker. Are you fearful of public speaking? If so, you're in the majority. Many people, including famous people you might be surprised to learn about, have expressed anxiety over standing up in front of an audience to give a speech. This anxiety can manifest itself in a wide range of sensations like feeling cold or hot, having itchy skin, fast heartbeat, or dry mouth. Thoughts like dread or overwhelming fear or even blanking out, and behaviors like shaky hands or heavy breathing. But you can learn techniques that will help you lower and manage your speech anxiety, although it may never go away totally. I know. I was a professional actor for many years and have been a teacher for many more, and I still occasionally experience this kind of anxiety. But I know what it is, and I know how to handle it, and you can learn to manage it and become a more confident speaker. Some people are not bothered at all by speaking in public, but most people report at least some level of anxiety in this situation, so you're not alone. Fear of public speaking tends to stem from two sources: our temperament and our response to uncertainty. Some people have particular personalities and temperaments that influence their level of speech anxiety. If you tend to feel uncomfortable in many social situations or see yourself as overly shy, you might be prone to speech anxiety as well. On MindTap, you can access and complete the PRPSA, which is the Personal Report of Public Speaking Anxiety, and that'll give you a baseline to help you understand where you fall on the anxiety scale. Even if you score very high on this report, there's still plenty of things you can do to manage your fears. Another reason people might feel anxious is because we as humans generally don't like uncertain situations. Uncertainty reduction theory says that when people face unfamiliar situations, we don't really like it. We are more comfortable with familiar things and events. Public speaking for most of you is not an everyday occurrence, so that alone can cause you to feel anxious. There are several areas of uncertainty that can cause anxiety. The speaker's role: you might not know what your duties and responsibilities as a speaker are. Your speaking abilities: asking yourself, what am I supposed to do up there and how well can I do it? Are my ideas interesting enough? Do I have enough knowledge about anything to speak about it well? How is the audience going to react to me? What kind of impression will I make on them and on the instructor? Now, this is referred to as the spotlight effect, which is an overestimation of how much people are paying attention to and judging you. How familiar are the surroundings to you, and what kinds of technology will you have access to, and are you comfortable working with it? All those things can combine to really make the speaking situation feel like something impossible. But trust me when I say that I've seen thousands of students just like you learn to lessen their anxiety and be effective public speakers. Okay, we've talked about what makes you anxious. Let's talk about ways to reduce that anxiety. The book goes into detail about 3 very effective techniques you can use, so I'm just going to mention them here and leave it to you to read about them and try them. First, simple relaxation techniques like deep breathing and progressive relaxation. Deep breathing focuses on your breath and moving air in and out of your lungs, not quickly because you'll hyperventilate, but slowly and deliberately. Progressive relaxation is where you concentrate on relaxing one part of your body at a time until you're fully relaxed. You can do these in the privacy of your home at any time. The second one is relabeling, and that's a technique where you start thinking about the way you react in the speaking situation in a positive way instead of a negative one. And you do that by assigning different descriptive words to those mental and physical reactions. So instead of fear, you call it excitement. Your heart pounding doesn't make you apprehensive, it makes you energized. Now, once you start describing those things in a more positive way, you'll actually feel more positive. Visualization is the process of imagining your speech from start to finish as being successful. We have a tendency to worry about all the things that could possibly go wrong instead of seeing ourselves as doing it right. Visualization is best utilized while you're actually practicing your speech delivery, imagining the audience in front of you as you give them that information and work through the delivery. Keep seeing yourself as successful. And there are lots of other things you can do to lessen your anxiety. Give yourself enough time to do everything that needs to be done. Choose a topic that means something to you, and do whatever research is necessary so that you can speak knowledgeably about it. Keep your audience in mind so that you can make the topic as interesting to them as it is to you. Leading up to the speech day, you should have dedicated enough time and energy to organizing and writing the outline, creating the speaking notes, and getting your visual aids ready so that by the day before you don't have to do any of those things. Put in enough practice time that you're comfortable with the flow of words and ideas, and incorporate your visual aids into your practice so you're comfortable with those as well. One of the best things you can do is really know your introduction and conclusion well. Studies show that we're most anxious during the first minute of the speech, so being very sure of what you're going to say can get you over that hump. Anxiety can also rise near the conclusion, so knowing how your speech is going to end gives both you and the audience a sense of satisfaction. Doing the following things on speech day will also help keep you from having an anxiety attack. First, make sure you look ready to speak by dressing for the occasion. Now, I don't mean you need to wear a tuxedo or a ball gown. This is a speaking occasion, not a date. So you need to look like you're ready to speak. If you're doing a speech about yoga, you probably wouldn't want to wear a suit. You'd probably want to be dressed in the clothing you would wear to a yoga class. But that clothing won't work if you're talking about how to interview for a job. A suit or dress would be more appropriate for that. Keep the topic and occasion in mind when you get dressed that day. Make sure you've got everything organized and ready to go. I've had people forget a thumb drive with all their visual aids on it, and sadly, they have to give the speech without it. Don't forget your speaking notes. Come to class early. Talk with your classmates. Talk to yourself positively. If you need to check to make sure your slides or pictures or video work, this is the time to do that. Once the class begins, concentrate on what the other speakers are saying. Don't just sit there and agonize over everything. Remember, you're still an audience member. When it's your turn to speak, calmly walk up to the front of the room, set up any visual aids you might be using, then face your audience, breathe naturally, smile briefly, and begin. Displaying a confident attitude actually helps your audience members to listen to you. You need to be okay with some level of anxiety because it's a very normal thing to have happen, at least during the first minute or so. Remember the relabeling technique and think of it as productive energy. It will lift you up instead of pulling you down. Also, don't think too much about it. If you're so focused on how anxious you feel, it will be all that you can think about. And definitely don't comment on your anxiety. Don't say things like, "Oh, I'm really nervous up here." You're just shooting yourself in the foot when you say that. Remember, getting your message out to the audience is far more important than how you feel about giving the speech. So focus on them instead of yourself. Be aware of your audience's feedback. Many, if not all of them, are truly attempting to listen to you, and they'll let you know by giving you eye contact, smiling, maybe nodding. And finally, make no apologies or excuses. If something goes wrong, and it certainly might, don't fall apart. Don't give an excuse or an apology. Just keep going. If you don't act like whatever bad thing happened is a big deal, the audience won't focus on it either. You might think that once your speech is over, so's your anxiety. Well, anxiety can come afterwards as well, especially if you think the speech didn't go as well as you thought it should. How often have you berated yourself after some event thinking, "Oh, I should have done or said this," or "Why did I do that stupid thing?" And maybe you've even lost sleep thinking about how you could have done things differently. We all have a tendency to look at ourselves negatively, but don't do that here. Review what went right as well as what could have gone better. Congratulate yourself on getting the job done. Yes, you can think about the times when you were most and least nervous. Figure out what helped reduce your anxiety. Then make a plan for managing your speaking anxiety next time and put it into practice. Remember, nearly everyone experiences some level of speech anxiety, But the most successful speakers understand how they react in speaking situations and have developed strategies to help them manage anxiety. You can too. Okay, now you're ready to go to the Mind tab, Chapter 2 assignment.